Hey everyone, I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino alongside Leger Douzable. We are going to go through the Bears 2023-2024 schedule, predict every single game. Are they going to the playoffs? Are they not? Let's find out. Starting with week 1 against the Titans, it is Caleb Williams' debut at Soldier Field. How does it go down for the rookie quarterback?
I got him getting a win, and Jacqueline here was just giving me a really interesting stat, right? I think number 1 overall picks at quarterback are 0-14-1 in their last opening start, which gives me a little pause and makes me a little nervous. But I just think what the Bears have done this offseason, right? Adding Keenan Allen via trade, DJ Moore was already there. You get a guy like Rome Odunze, offensive line's intact. Their defense was one of the best defenses. Actually, matter of fact, the last 6 weeks of the season was the number 1 defense in points per game, and they were the number 1 defense against the run all season long last year. I think, Will Levis coming in, new offense, even though Caleb Williams is learning new offense, traveling to Soldier Field, it's going to be nuts there. Everybody's been waiting for this quarterback, Caleb Williams. They're hoping he can be the quarterback they've been longing for forever. I think the Bears get it done at home.
The last 15 quarterbacks selected number 1 overall, 0-14-1 in their first career starts.
You got me nervous now, Jack.
Yeah, okay.
Got me nervous.
But we're calling it a win for week 1 for Caleb Williams. Week 2 at the Texans. How does it go down?
I think that's a loss for them. I mean, C.J. Stroud, and if you look at the Texans, if you believe in strength of schedule, I think they have a top 5 strength of schedule, and that's because they won the division last year, and we saw what C.J. Stroud did to really ignite this team last year. And they've gotten only better this offseason when you look at what they've done on the defensive side, right? Danico Autry, Daniil Hunter. They also added Aziz Shire at the linebacker position, but then they added Stephon Diggs on the offensive side, and Tank Dell comes back from injury. So just think too much firepower for the Chicago Bears team, even though their defense has played a lot better down the stretch of the 2023 season. I like C.J. Stroud and the Texans at home to get the job done.
Okay, so at this point, the Bears are 1-1. Week 3 at the Colts against presumably a healthy Anthony Richardson. How does it go down?
I have the Chicago Bears winning on the road. So Caleb Williams' first win on the road. If you look at the Colts, right, I think their win total was 8.5. I think if you look at it, that's a knee-jerk reaction to what they did last year, Jack. Nobody saw them winning as many games or winning 9 games last year. I think a lot of people thought with a new head coach, a rookie quarterback, that they essentially would probably be picking in the top 5, and they exceeded all expectations. This is a defensive line, Jacqueline, that nobody's talked about, right? They were top 5 in sacks last year. Then they added Latu in the Colts. I just think there's some deficiencies at left tackle and at corner. I think Caleb Williams in this offense goes into Indianapolis and gets a win.
Okay, week 4 against the Rams. What do you have here for the Bears?
I have them losing, even though it's at home at Soldier Field. I think Sean McVay has done a masterful job, him and Les Snead, the GM, of really retooling that team. They're essentially kind of like the Colts, but they actually went to the playoffs. Like, a lot of people thought it was going to be a rebuild year for them. Matt Stafford was coming off the injury, so was Cooper Kupp. And yet, Puka Nacua, right? Kobe Turner, the defensive lineman, should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, 9 sacks. You get Byron Young, another guy that was a 3rd-round pick. They got so much good play out of young players last year. Now they're going into their 2nd year. And they also refortified that defensive line as well. So you would think Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and all the rest of those receivers with Cooper Kupp would be better this year. Also retooled that interior offensive line to protect Matt Stafford. I got the Rams winning on the road.
So we have them alternating win-loss so far through week 4. Next up, we have the Panthers. And when we're talking about the Bears, the 4th easiest strength of schedule based on their opponent's win percentage from last season. And the Panthers, of course, last season coming off of 2 wins. Tough for Bryce Young. Do you have the Bears getting a win here in week 5 against Carolina?
I do have them winning at home versus the Carolina Panthers. And I think they'll be a lot better than the Panthers, right? Dave Canales is coming in, and he's been a savant, as one would call it, in regards to quarterback play. Because if we look at Geno Smith in Seattle, when he was the quarterback coach there, Geno had his best year. We look at last year in Tampa Bay when he was with Baker Mayfield as the offensive coordinator. Baker Mayfield had his best year. So you would assume that everything that Bryce Young went through, and he went through a lot last year, that Dave Canales could, really help this young man develop and be better in year 2. I just think they still are deficient in a lot of areas. I have the Chicago Bears winning this at home.
All right, week 6, they go to London to take on London's team, the Jags.
Your team.
I'm kidding. That's what Danny Cannell says. But week 6 against the Jags, how does it go down for the Bears?
Hey, you're not kidding. This is London's team. Matter of fact, after they play the Chicago Bears. I think they stay a week and play another team in London. So this is a team that's playing 2 games back-to-back in London.
They're
are
not moving
essentially
there for good. That's what I mean.
I think they will eventually.
I don't think they will.
I think they will eventually. She doesn't want that to happen because she's a Jags fan.
I'll cry. I'll literally cry.
But yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars are used to playing in London. They're used to that time change. Again, they're staying for 2 weeks. I think they get it done in London versus Chicago Bears.
Okay, week 7 is the bye, and then coming off of the bye, we have a very highly anticipated
I'm looking forward to this matchup.
In week 8 with the Bears and the Commander. We have the number 1 overall pick going against the number 2 overall pick. It's only the 6th time that the top 2 picks have gone against one another in the modern draft era. Caleb Williams versus Daniels. Who has more pressure here, in your opinion? And who wins?
The guy that goes number 1 always has more pressure, but this is also another scenario where former Heisman winners play each other. I think the last time that happened was Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota in their rookie season. So I actually have the Commanders winning at home. I think the Commanders are going to be a lot better than a lot of people think. They bring it over Dan Quinn. That was their weakness on defense, right? They really refortified that defense. A guy that nobody's talking about, Frankie Louvu, the linebacker. Look for Dan Quinn to use him kind of like he used Micah Parsons with the Dallas Cowboys. Really like how they've really refortified the linebacker and defensive line room. And with the Commanders, also Jaden Daniels playing with Cliff Kingsbury. Last time he had a guy that had the skill set like him was Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I got the Commanders winning this one at home, even though this is a homecoming for Caleb Williams. He's from the area.
Yep. So week 8, you have them losing to the Commanders. Are you seeing a bounce back in week 9 against the Cardinals?
No, I think the Cardinals are one of those gritty teams. Last year, talent deficient, but they gave their best shot to everybody they played. You would think second year for head coach Jonathan Gannon, they'd be even better. Kyler Murray, second year indoctored into this offense. He's going to be better. Really love what they did in the draft. They finally got him a number 1 receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. So I love what the Cardinals did. I think they win this game at home.
So you have them losing 3 of the last 4 going into this matchup with the Patriots in Week 10. How does that go down for Chicago?
At home versus a Patriots team who may be starting a rookie quarterback themselves in Drake May. A lot of talent deficiencies on that offense. They'll be playing a lot of young players. Really love what they did in the draft. Jalen Pogue and Javon Baker were 2 of my favorite players. So Drake May is going to be able to grow with some of his young receivers on the outside. And also Caden Wallace is a guy I think that could push this year to start at left tackle. Just think there's going to be a lot of growing pains. I think the Chicago Bears win this game. All
right, Week 11, you're going up against a Packers team that was one of the youngest teams to find success in the postseason. That's what they're coming off of, again, with Jordan Love. How does this divisional matchup go?
Yeah, divisional matchups are always tough, but when you look at the Green Bay Packers, they've owned the Chicago Bears. I mean, even Jordan Love kind of had a joke last year after Aaron Rodgers moved on to the Jets and said, Happy Father's Day to the Bears, but he meant to say the Bears should be saying Happy Father's Day to me because the Packers have always owned the Bears, and I think that doesn't change this year. I think the Packers win this game.
Okay, Week 12 against the Vikings, potentially against another rookie quarterback. What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, at home, we don't know. Will J.J. McCarthy be playing? Will Sam Darnold be playing? Also, Justin Jefferson's looking for a new deal as well. Potentially could be rookie versus rookie. I just think the benefit of playing at home for Caleb Williams will get it done versus the Minnesota Vikings. They win that game.
All right, getting it done in Week 12. Week 13, a little bit more difficult to get it done against the Lions. How does it go down in Week 13 in your opinion?
Is this the Thanksgiving game?
This is not.
Okay.
The Thanksgiving game is Week 16.
Okay, so yeah, this game right here at the Lions I have as a loss for the Chicago Bears. Playing in the Dome is tough, especially when you're playing against Jared Goff. He doesn't lose in Dome games. Matter of fact, I think 13 of his 16 games are in the Dome this year. So the Lions are probably going to have a lot of success. I think it's going to be a tough outing for the Chicago Bears. I have the Lions winning at home.
And Jared Goff just got paid. Amon St. Brown just got paid. They're getting some big paydays there in Detroit. Week 14 against the 49ers.
Travel out west. Brock Purdy and them boys will be ready. This will be a tough matchup for Caleb Williams. This will probably be the best defensive line he's faced up until this point, right? Leonard Floyd just signed there this offseason. You got Nick Bosa there as well. They traded for Nico Collins. It's going to be a tough game for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. I have the 49ers winning this game at home.
All right, Week 15, playing the Vikings in Minnesota. Another win?
I do have them bouncing back and winning in Minnesota. Again, we don't know, will J.J. McCarthy be playing? Will Sam Darnold be playing? Really love what Brian Flores has done with that defense. They signed Jonathan Grenard. So they got some pieces on defense, and that defense played really well down the stretch. I think Caleb Williams goes into Minnesota and gets this win.
All right, now we are getting to the Thanksgiving matchup, Week 16 against the Lions. And unfortunately for the Lions, Thanksgiving games are just not their thing.
They're not. What, Jack, they're 0-7 the last 7 Thanksgiving games?
Yes, they have lost 7 straight Thanksgiving matchups, and the Bears lead this all-time Thanksgiving series 11-8.
And this is exactly why I picked the Chicago Bears to win this game at Soldiers Field. I don't know what it is about the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. They just struggle. I think last year I picked them as heavy favorites versus the Packers, and they got boat raced by the Packers. Yeah, they got boat raced by the Packers. So I think the Chicago Bears win this game Thanksgiving at home.
And we were talking about this, Leger, a little bit before. Week 14 through 18 is really tough.
It's gauntlet.
Yes.
It's gauntlet.
And so the last 2 games, Week 17, we have the Seahawks here. Is that a win for the Bears? Is that a loss?
And you look at this scenario, this could be a team where they're maybe fighting for like the 7th seed in the NFC. I actually have them beating Seattle Seahawks at home. The Seahawks are going to have to travel out west all the way to Soldier Field. I think they get it done versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Week 18 in Green Bay against the Packers. Your face says L.
Again, until they show me different, I know Caleb Williams is there. The Packers have owned the Chicago Bears. And could this be a scenario where the Packers are maybe fighting with the Lions to win the division in Week 18, and this game matters so much more to them? I have the Packers winning this game.
The NFC North is going to be a tough division, and there is a big conversation, has a starting rookie quarterback ever had this many pieces around him on offense? Because you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, of course, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. The list goes on. But there's also another mindset that maybe there's too many players there on offense for him, too many weapons and too many mouths to feed.
So this will be the interesting thing, Jacqueline, and I don't think a lot of people have talked about this. It'll be offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, who comes over from Seattle, and there were some choice words from his former first-round pick, Jackson Smith-Njigba, who felt like he wasn't used properly. Well, if you look at Chicago Bears, it's similar situations, right? Because DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. So if you look at Shane Waldron's history, he likes to use 2 tight end sets, so 12 personnel. There's a reason they brought Gerald Everett in to pair with Cole Kmet, because that's what Shane Waldron likes to do. This will be interesting, right? Because there's going to be a lot of onus on this team and Matt Eberflus, but there's going to be a big onus on offensive coordinator Shane Waldron to make sure that everybody gets fed, and also to make sure that Caleb Williams realizes it's not all on you. It's not like USC where our defense is going to give up 50 points. This is one of the best defenses last year down the stretch of the season. So you can lean on that defense. Matter of fact, they have 3 really good running backs too. You talked about DeAndre Swift, but Johnson, who they took from Texas last year in the 3rd round, is a really good back as well. And Khalil Herbert is still there as well. So they'll lean on the run game as well. So Caleb Williams has to realize he doesn't need to play hero ball. He can just live within the offense and they'll have success. But there'll be a big onus on offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, because his last first-round pick didn't like how he was used. Now you have a top 10 pick in Rome Odunze, who's probably going to be playing behind 2 number 1 receivers in Keenan Allen and also DJ Moore.
The win total is at 8.5, and we went through the schedule. You have them going 8-9, missing the playoffs in Caleb Williams' rookie year.
Correct.
But when is it going to be the year for the Bears, in your opinion?
To me, Jacqueline, next year is their year. When you look at this team and the way it's constructed, do you automatically assume maybe Keenan Allen comes in for this 1 year, and then Rome Odunze moves up and Keenan Allen moves over? Second year for, Caleb Williams indoctrinated into this offense. He'll feel a lot more comfortable, right? DeAndre Swift will be there. Their offensive line, which is young, will be even better, going into their 3rd year in the system as well, or 2nd year in the system, because Shane Waldron is new. They'll feel a lot more indoctrinated into this offense. They'll feel a lot better as well. And then also the defense will continue to play. They got Jalen Johnson, who's one of the best young corners in football, gave him an extension, which they needed to do. So some foundational and really good pieces on this team. I don't think this year is their year. I think they'll be 1 game better because they went 7-10 last year. I think next year is the Chicago Bears year.
All right, so Leger says this year, Bears fans not making the playoffs, going 8-9.
Right there, but you're not going to get it.
The future is bright. The future is bright.